It was a year ago next week that we introduced you to this up-and-coming sports reporter and play-by-play voice. At the time, she was still a student at Rowan University, but she had just been named sports director at Rowan Radio, and she was already calling games for the Sixers G League team, the Delaware Bluecoats, plus baseball's Wilmington Blue Rocks. Well, she's even busier now in her sports broadcasting career. She'll tell us all about that. Let's welcome her back to Philly Pressbox Radio. It is Kayla Santiago. Hey, Kayla, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Doing all right here. Well, as I noted, your life has changed quite a bit over the past year, a lot going on. A few months ago, you joined a new venture as a sports anchor, reporter, and play-by-play voice. It's Delmarva Sports Network. Now, most of our viewers are in Pennsylvania or New Jersey and aren't real familiar with that, perhaps. So tell us about DSN.
Yeah, so DSN just launched. It's a 24-hour sports station where, like you mentioned, I do play-by-play anchoring and reporting. So we cover all of the local high schools around Delmarva, including Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. We cover the college teams as well and some of the minor league teams too. So we're very, very busy out here. We do a live game every single day. Right now, we're currently with 5 sports, boys and girls lacrosse, softball, baseball, and then girls soccer in Delaware. So it's a little bit crazy working long hours with my amazing crew, but it's been a lot of fun, a great learning experience. And I'm blessed at 21 to have a full-time gig out here on Delmarva. So only 3 hours away from home, but you don't get the station, unfortunately, in New Jersey and PA.
But let me ask you, do you get lots of free Wawa stuff?
We actually do. We get a little gift basket when they first came in. We don't get free hoagies or anything like that, unfortunately, but they really gave us a nice gift basket with a bunch of merchandise. They're our studio sponsor, so it's pretty cool to have them on our side.
I'm a big fan of Wawa. I just thought I'd throw that in there. By the way, you do have a website, delmarvasportsnetwork.com, and you just might see you there on the front of the website. So what's on the website? What will people find there?
So it's basically all of the games we called. We also go out to games and get highlights. So for the people who aren't on the calls, we have different reporters going out and getting highlights through various games. And you can see all the highlights, different reports right here. It's called a package. We do a Coach Who Makes a Difference award. Basically, that means a coach around the peninsula that is really making a difference, not only in the kids' lives on the field, but also off the field. So we have different storylines like that that are a lot of fun. It's basically what we do throughout the day, but then we all just throw it to the web. So people like you who are out of the region can kind of look at it and see it while they're at home.
Yeah, I should mention, I watched a few minutes of some of you doing play-by-play of various games over the past week, and I watched Zach doing the nightly Final Score program Monday night. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it. We have a really good team over at DSN. Zach's our sports director. He's been here for a little bit now. We just have a really fantastic team. We work very well together, and everybody behind the scenes is great as well.
We talked last year about your broadcasting education at Rowan, and oh, by the way, you graduated with honors, magna cum laude, so congratulations on that. We had Neil Hartman on here with us. We've had him on, I think, 4 or 5 times over the years, and you know this. Neil is quite proud of you. He told us when he was on with us last summer, I mean, heck, you're someone Rowan can point to for what the school's broadcasting program can do for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, Neil is one of the best mentors I've ever had. He helps students so much. If you're really determined and know what you want to do, he's going to point you in the right direction. And he helped me through college just so much. I'm very grateful. And this opportunity, honestly, wouldn't be possible without him. He's the one who called me and said, do you want to graduate early? Do you want this job? There's an opportunity out there in Salisbury, Maryland. And for me, it was a no-brainer. I was able to graduate early, and Neil just has been the biggest supporter, and it's really been great to have him on my side for sure.
Yeah, Neil's a good man. Let's talk a little Sixers, Kayla. Despite slow starts to some of the games, they looked terrific the first 5 games of the James Harden era. But since then, it's been very interesting. Do you think this team will get it together enough to make a deep run come playoff time in mid-April?
I think they can make a deep run. I think the biggest contest right now for them is going to be the Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets. I know that they beat the Miami Heat already without James Harden and Joel Embiid, but you talk about the Brooklyn Nets right now, if the season were to end, they would be in the play-in tournament. And that kind of makes Sixers fans nervous, I think, because then maybe they would have to play them depending where the seeding goes. So I think the difference about the East is that 1 through 8 right now is very, very talented. So you could get knocked out in the first round, and I think one of the top teams will. Hopefully it's not the Sixers. I think that they can make it past the second round this year. I don't know about NBA champions, but I think if they can get things together, they still need to play together a little bit more, that they can make a deep run for sure.
By the way, how much do you love Tyrese Maxey? What a performance by him Monday night, huh?
He's absolutely fantastic. It's crazy to think that we're the same age because I'm like, he's this NBA almost like superstar right now, but he's really making a name for himself at the moment. You're talking about somebody who last year was behind Ben Simmons, was coming off the bench, was kind of just into his role. And sometimes when you get a guy like James Harden, you don't really know where Tyrese Maxey is going to end up, but he's just been phenomenal. He's been able to put everything on his back. He's been able to step up in huge moments, and he's so young. So you're talking about a guy who's good now, but that can also be part of the Sixers' future going forward.
Well, speaking of the Sixers' future, I'm assuming you still keep tabs somewhat on the Bluecoats. The Sixers' first-round draft pick last summer, Jayden Springer, has spent virtually all season with the Bluecoats, the G League team. He's a 6'4" guard. He's averaging more than 15 points a game, but does he have a future, do you think, in the NBA?
Absolutely. I think he does. I think he's shown a lot of talent. I wouldn't be surprised if he either stays with the Bluecoats for a few years or gets passed around the G League a little bit. But I do think that he can be successful in the NBA. For how long, I don't really know. But he's got some pop. He's got some flair. And I think eventually he can make that mark. I think it might be a year or two. I think he might stay with the Bluecoats. And maybe if the Sixers want to bring him up here and there, they can. But I think it's going to be like a Paul Reed situation where he's back and forth between the Bluecoats and the Sixers, at least for now in the next year.
All right. Going to be interesting to see how they do in the playoffs. Well, Kayla, before we wrap up, since you did so well with it last year, I think we have time, and maybe I can twist your arm to play another game of Fast Five. 5 questions, 5 brief answers.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. And as last time, keep your answers to 15 or 20 seconds so we can get them all in here. Here we go. Number 1, Kayla, the Phillies will soon open their 2022 season. They've added a couple of big-time hitters in Castellanos and Schwarber, but the defense and bullpen are once again big question marks. What is the outlook for this year's Phils?
I think they're on top of the NL East. I think throughout the season, they're going to make some pitching changes. They don't have a great starting pitching rotation, which really worries a lot of Phillies fans, and I get it, but that lineup is going to be super hard to face every single night for opposing squads.
Expect a lot of 10-8 games. You told me last year that your favorite Philly athletes of your lifetime would include Ryan Howard and Joel Embiid. Who would be your least favorite?
I don't love Jason Worth because he went to the Nationals and everything like that. I really liked when he was a Philly. Probably Ben Simmons too, just because of all the drama that's happened and everything like that with Philadelphia. But those are probably my least favorites.
If you didn't say Ben Simmons, I was going to have to drill you some more. Number 3, the Eagles surprised us by winning 9 games and making the playoffs. A quick exit from there, unfortunately. How much faith do you have in Jalen Hurts at quarterback, and will they be back in the playoffs next winter?
I think they will. I think right now the team that they're building could possibly win that division. I think the Cowboys right now are trying to figure out who they are as a team. We'll see if Dak Prescott can do what he's been doing. But I think Jalen Hurts has a lot of promise. They've already gotten some help on the receiving end. And Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, another year together, another year of connections. I think they can make it out on top of the division. How far they go, I don't know, but playoffs maybe.
All right. It is Women's History Month, Kayla. What is your assessment of the 76ers' first ever female play-by-play voice, Kate Scott?
I love her. I think she has such a really good voice. I think it's very hard to kind of back up Mark Zumoff because he's just been the face of the Sixers for so many years, but she kind of picked up where he left off, and I think it's fantastic to have a woman in the booth, and she's done a really good job. I think the call on Tyrese Maxey the other night was super exciting as well.
Oh, yeah. We had Kate on with us last month, as you just saw there, and she was terrific, just so personable in addition to being talented. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Kate Scott. Finally, number 5, what are your 2 or 3 favorite all-time sports movies?
Oh, I love Draft Day. That's probably my number one.
Oh, no. You're
I
the
know
one.
a lot of people, and probably like Sandlot, but there's not too many that I can really put above them. Draft Day is probably my number 1. I'll give you a top 2 there.
I'll let you slide on that one. Kayla Santiago, great to do this again. Continued success in your broadcasting career, and go Sixers.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Trust the process, of course.